Hello friends, welcome to the shed on a Monday, a wet Monday, in which I totally failed to heed the warnings of the weatherman, and myself for that matter. I would like to think that I'm pretty good at judging the weather. For most of my life, I have been an avid outdoors person. Whether it be fishing or hunting or motorcycling or kayaking, I've always done activities that have depended on the weather. So I've paid close attention to how the weather systems in my area work and how the forecasters predict the forecast in my area. And I live in a part of the United States that is notoriously difficult to predict the weather for. And the reason is I'm far enough inland that I'm not a coastal territory, so the ocean currents and, well, ocean currents don't predict my weather. The weather that hits me comes mostly fully across the western United States before it gets here. West Virginia is kind of this weird place. It's really hard to predict the weather here because to the east of me is the Appalachian Mountains. I'm in the foothills, and so that protects us from any weather that comes up through Virginia. It usually breaks up and goes back out before it gets here. Unless it's a strong coastal storm. And most of the time, weather coming up from like Mexico through the Gulf doesn't get to me either because it dumps out before it ever reaches this far north, unless it's particularly bad. So the weather that I have to deal with comes basically across the plains of the west and the occasional what we call lake effect or a low pressure system that comes down from Canada. All this is to say, most of the time the weathermen here are close, but they have a really hard job when it comes to predicting rain, and they're usually off by about 4 hours. If they say it's going to rain at 4 p.m., it probably won't rain till about 8, just depending on various effects that happen to the west of us, whether it's a dry season or whether it's been humid or rain or whatever it might be. So today when I woke up, the rain wasn't supposed to get here until 3ish. That's when the you watch the regional predictions, 30% chance, whatever. At 3 it was like a 60% chance. And as a motorcyclist, when I leave work at 3. That's the time that I pay attention to, so I don't have to ride through crud. Unfortunately, today they were pretty close to correct. Now, here's the thing: if you didn't know, weather forecasts, when they say there's a 30% chance in your area, those forecasts are regional, and the region might be your whole state if you're a small enough state, or half the state. Here we're in the Allegheny weather region, so north of us into Pennsylvania down to below my area, that's all kind of the weather region that we're in. And so when they say there's a 30% chance of rain, that means your whole region. So it might rain in one small corner of your region and the rest is sunny clouds or sunny days. No big deal. Sorry. So, when they say here that there's a 60% chance, particularly where I'm situated, it's probably not going to rain. And if it is, it's going to rain later, usually once the sun has kind of started to once the day started to cool off, so the hot part of the day is like 2, 3, and then it starts to cool, and then the rain happens. But when I woke up this morning, it was perfectly clear skies, and I should have heeded that warning. That's typically a warning for me. That means that it was dry, and so arid to the west means as that air gets here, it sucks moisture, and then guess what happens with this downpour? And it happened way early today. It happened at like 1 o'clock. It's been raining since about 1:30, something like that. So I had to ride home in that crap. But I hesitate to call myself a meteorologist, even though this has been something that I've essentially studied my whole life because it interests me. But I'm a non-scientific meteorologist. I use no instruments, just educated guesses based on weather patterns all around me. Because that's where West Virginia sits. It's just like this swirl of weather. And most of the time it comes, let's see, if you're this way, sometimes it, whatever. Anyway, so it was a good Monday. It was a good day back to work. I had an excellent weekend. I got the grass cut and immediately started sneezing and eyes burning. So hopefully I don't have to cut it too many more times this year because I'm about sick of these allergies. But other than getting poured on today, I had a great day. I hope you had a great day. Tell me how your weekend went in the comments down below. I'm really interested. Tell me what you think of the interview series. Please tell me anything in the comments below. I really like it when you guys engage. That keeps me motivated to do the next day's video. So keep that up, and I will be back tomorrow, and hopefully I'll be dry and have something more interesting to talk about. Thank you.
Hey Doc, wait! I want to ask you something.
Today's random fact comes from rockhall.com. Who is the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Aretha Franklin, vocals, piano, born March 25th, 1942. Aretha Franklin is the Queen of Soul. Yes, she is. And the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She's a singer of great passion and control whose finest recordings define her. Aretha Franklin's highlights. Oh, that's weird. It's weird how I pulled that out. Yeah, Aretha Franklin is definitely the Queen of Soul. Love it.